What's going on, guys? My name's the Left Kid here, aka Steven here with Super DOA Derek. Today we're reading some creepypasta stories. It's been a while, like since we last made one, like 2 years ago. I don't know.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I love these creepypasta stories.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're reading 2 stories today.
Squidward.
One is kind of a short one, one the long one. One is really one of the first lost episode creepypastas. I could be wrong about that, but it's Squidward's suicide, and the other one is one from house.
Yeah, Ronald McDonald, like a yeehaw
I think
cowboy. So today, okay, so the first one we're gonna read Squidward's suicide. I don't know what's it about, but it's something about
I read it, but
Squidward. Alright, so shall we get started, guys? So yeah, let's go. So should I go first? Alright, I'll be the first one.
I'm gonna be reading my normal reading voice. If you hear it, sit back, relax, and start
Yeah,
and listen to us.
it's gonna be a while, so
Squidward's
it's gonna be
side.
it's gonna be a while. So sit and relax and enjoy some popcorn or whatever. And don't watch it at 3 a.m. or something's gonna happen to you. I'm just kidding.
Why?
Just don't listen at night. I don't want. Not gonna be my fault. You guys get scared. Okay, let's continue the story. Squidward suicide. Let's go. I just want to start off by saying, if you want an answer at the end, prepare to be disappointed. There just isn't one. I was an intern at Nickelodeon Studio for a year in 2005 for my degree in animation. It wasn't a pay, of course, more internship art, but it did have some perk beyond education. To adult, it might not seem like a big one, but most kids at the time will go crazy over it.
Now, since then I worked directly with the editors and animators, I cut a few of the new episodes days before it aired. I'll get right to it without giving too many unnecessary details. They had very recently made the SpongeBob movie, and the entire staff was somewhat sapped of creativity, so it took them longer to start the season. But the delay lasted longer and more upsetting reasons. There was a problem with the Series 4 premiere that set everyone and everything back for several months. Me and 2 other interns were in the editing room along with the lead animators and sound editors for the final cut. We received the copy. It's supposed to be a Fear of the Krabby Patty.
Ooh, I like Krabby Patty.
Fear of the Krabby Patty. Damn it.
I don't know.
I gathered around the screen to watch. Now, given that is that the final animators often put up a mock title card, sort of an inside joke for us, with phony, oftentimes loop titles such as How Sex Doesn't Work.
Ooh, yeah, baby!
Instead of Rockabye by when SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop, I remember that episode. Nothing particularly funny about but work-related chuckles. So we saw a title card, Squidward's suicide. We didn't think of it more than a morbid joke.
When the intro did, Small Throat laughed at it. The happy-go-lucky music played as a normal. The story began with Squidward practicing his clarinet, hitting a few sour notes like normal. We heard SpongeBob laughing outside, and Squidward stopped yelling at him, keel down. He has a concert that night. He needs to practice. And needs to practice. SpongeBob said, okay, go to see Sandy with Patrick. The bubble splash screen comes on and see the ending of Squidward concert. This is when things began to seem off. While playing few frames repeat themselves, but the sound doesn't. At this point, sound is synced up with animation, so yes, that's not common. But when he stopped playing, the sound finished as if he skipped never happened. There is a slight murmuring in the crowd before they began to boo him. Not normal cartoon booing that is common in the show, but you could very clearly hear Malice in it. Malice in it. Squidward in both frames looks visibly afraid. The shoot goes to the crowd with SpongeBob in center frame, and he is so boring. 2 is boring.
Jeez.
He is 2 is booing, very much unlike him. That isn't the
Yeah.
oddest thing, though. What is odd is everyone and hyper-realistic eye, very detailed, clearly not shot of real people eye, but sometimes a bit more real than CGI. The puppy eye were red. Some were each other, obviously confused, but since we weren't the writer, we didn't question it appeal to children yet.
A bunch of cliches already from the old days of creepypastas. Anyways, the shot of goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed, looking very forlorn. The view out of his porthole window is out to the night sky, so it isn't very concert. The unsettling part is at this point where there is no sound, literally no sound. Not even feedback from the speakers in the room. It is as if the speakers were turned off. No, their status shown them working perfectly. He just sat there, blinking in silence for about 30 seconds, and he started to sob softly. He put his hands, tentacles, over his eyes and cried quietly for a full minute more. All the while, the sound in the background very slowly growing from nothing to barely audible. It sounded like a slight breeze through the forest. The screen slowly begins to zoom in into his face. By slow, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at shots 10 seconds apart, side by side. His sobbing gets louder and much more full of hurt and anger. The screen then twitches a bit, as if it twists on itself for a split second, then back to normal. The wind through the trees sounds gets slowly louder and more severe, as if the storm is brewing somewhere. The eerie part is that the sound that Squidward sobbing sounded real, as if the sound wasn't coming from the speakers, but as if it were coming from the hole. The sound was coming through the other side. As good as the sound as the studio likes to have, they don't purpose the equipment to be good to produce sound of quality.
Well, it's my turn. Below the sound of wind. Wait, you already read that. Below the sound of wind. Below the sound of wind and sobbing very faint, something sounded like laughing and came on interval and never lasted more than a second, so you have time pinning it. We watched this show twice, so pardon me if things sound too deficit, but I have had time to think about them. After 30 seconds of this, the screen blurred and twitched violently, and something flashed over the screen as a single frame was replaced. The lead animation editor paused and rewound frame by frame. What we saw was horrible. It was still a photo of a dead child. He couldn't have more than 6. The face was mangled and bloody. One eye dangling over his upturned face. Puppet. He was naked down his underwear. His stomach crudely cut open, and his entrails laying beside him. He was laying on some pavement that was probably a road.
A lot of cliches so far. The most upsetting part was that there was a shadow of the photographer. There was no crime tape, no evidence tags or markers, and the angle was completely off. For a shot designed to be evidence, it seemed the photographer was the person responsible for the child's death. We were of course mortified, but pressed on, hoping that this was kind of a sick joke. The screen flipped back to Squidward, still sobbing, louder than before, and half his body in frame. There was now what appeared to be blood running down his face from his eyes. The blood was also done in hyper-realistic style, looking as if you touched it, you get blood on your fingers. The wind sounded now as if there were out of a gale blowing through the forest. There was even snapping sound of branches. The laughing, a deep baritone. Whoops. Lasting a longer intervals and coming more frequently. After about 20 seconds, the screen again twisted, just a single frame photo.
The editor will really.
Just keep going.
The editor. Excuse me. Yeah, very unprofessional. The editor was.
We like them.
The editor was.
Just keep going. Who cares?
The editor.
To go back. To go back.
Okay. The editor.
Go back.
Okay.
The editor was reluctant to go back. We all were, but we knew we had to. This time, the photo was what appeared to be a little girl, no older than the first child. She was laying on her stomach, her barrettes, and a pool of blood next to her. Her left eye was too popped out and popped, naked except for her underpants. Her entrails were piled on top of her above. Another crude cut along her back. Again, the body was on the street and the photographer's shadow was visible. Very similar in size and shape to the first. I had to choke back vomit and one in turn. The only female in the room ran out. The show resumed.
After 5 seconds after the second photo play, Squidward went silent, as did all sound like it was this scene started. He put his tentacle down his eye, were now in a hyper-realism, and the other were in the beginning of this episode. They were bleeding, bloodshot and pulsating. He just stared at the screen as he watched the viewer. After about 10 seconds, he started sobbing, this time not covering his eye. The sound was piercing and loud, and most fearing in that thing of all his sobbing was mixed with screams. Tears and blood were dripping down his face at the heavy rate. The wind sound came back, and so did the deep voice laughing, and this time the still photo lasted for a good 5 frames.
The animator was able to stop it on the fourth and backed it up. The time the photo was of a boy, about the same age, but the time the scene was different. The entrails were just being pulled out from the stomach, wounded by a large hand. The right eye popped and dangling, blood trickling down it. The enemy proceeded. It was hard to believe, but the next one was different, but we couldn't tell what. He went back to this next, same thing. He went back to the first and played them quicker, and I lost it. I vomited on the floor, the animating and the sound gasping at the screen. The 5 frames were not as if they were 5 different photos. They played out as they were with frames from a video. We saw the hand slowly lift out the guts. We saw the kid's eyes focus on it. We even saw 2 frames of the kid beginning to blink. The lead sound editor told us to stop. He had to call into the creator to see this. Mr. Hillenberg arrived within about 15 minutes. He was confused as to why he called down there. So the editor just continued the episode. Once a few frames were shown, all screaming, all sound again stopped. Squidward was just staring at the viewer, full frame to the face, for about 3 seconds. Shock quickly banned out and a deep voice said, "Do it." And we see in Squidward's hands a shotgun. He immediately pulled his gun to his mouth and pulled the trigger. Realistic blood and brain splatters the wall behind him and his bed, and he flies back with a force. For the last 5 seconds of the episode, his body on the bed, on the side, one eye dangling from what's left of his head. The floor stared blankly at it. Then the episode ends.
Mr. Hillenberg is obviously angry at this. He demanded to know what the heck was going on. Most people left the room at this point. Wait, you already read that.
No, I didn't. You're right.
Alright. Most people had left the room at this point, so it was just a handful of us to watch it again. Viewing this no, you already nah, you already
No, you didn't read this. You're right.
No.
No, I read it. No, I didn't read it.
Alright.
Alright. Confused. No, I didn't read it.
So it was just a handful.
You're right.
Alright. So it was just a handful of us to watch it again. Viewing this episode twice only served to imprint the entirety of it in my mind, caused me a horrible nightmare. I'm sorry, I stated. The only story we could think it was the file was edited by someone in this chain from the drawing studio to here. The CTO was called in to analyze when it happened. The analysis of the file did show was edited over by new material. However, the timestamp of it was a mere 24 seconds before we began viewing it. All equipment involved was examined to forget software and hardware as well as glitches, as the timestamp was made a glitch and showed the wrong time. But every time, everything checked out fine. We don't know what happened, and to this day, nobody does.
Alright. There was an investigation to ensure these photos. Nothing came of it. I'm trying to see what I did. No clues were related. There was clues in the photos. I never believed in an inexplicable phenomenon before, but now that I have something happen, I can't prove anything about it. Yeah.
Oh my god! I just showed them the video. We're not gonna show you the video. It seems pretty creepy. I'd rather not. Look, he's like freaking Squidward, like bloody eye, showing, like looking at. He's literally, he's staring right in my eyes. I don't even want to look eye contact from him.
Yeah, they literally show what they described in the
But I ain't
video.
watching this. Well, this was a really great story. It seems really scary. It'd be, yeah, it'd be cool if there was a really episode of this.
Yeah, it was the last episode, Creepypasta. There's a little bit more of them, like, there's a Simpsons one.
Oh
I
man.
don't know about the other ones.
Alright. Okay. I'm done that. Well, shall we go to Ronald McDonald? Yee howdy. Alright, guys. That was a great story. Comment down below if you guys. Comment down below if you guys like this creepypasta. It was really great. Not gonna lie. I love reading creepypasta. Alright, to the next story. Ronald McDonald house. I don't know what. Is the McDonald owner guy creepypasta or what? Well, you see.
It was actually suggested by one of our friends. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
Or he
great.
actually recommended it to me, I guess.
That's going to be great. Well,
So I have read
Ronald McDonald house.
He described it to me, but
I don't know what's about this creepypasta. I never read it, so I don't really read creepypasta.
He described it to me, but I never read the whole
But
thing.
yeah, let's read it. So I guess you shall go first since I went the last time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's dialogue
Hmm.
here, so I guess we could take turns. I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. Ronald McDonald. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Ronald McDonald House or Charity House or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure you heard it. Excuse me. I'm sure you heard it. God damn it, I burped.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty,
I'm
guys.
sure you heard of the Ronald.
Yeah, excuse you.
I said excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, very unprofessional storytelling.
Alright.
Don't worry, it's not gonna be professional
Alright.
storytelling.
Continue. Alright, let's continue.
It just gonna be entertaining,
I'm sure you
fun.
heard- Alright. I'm sure you heard of the Ronald McDonald House Charity. Our charity house. They provide housing for families of sick kids when they are in hospital. Seems pretty innocent, right? Well, there's another side to the charity. There's another type of Ronald McDonald house, one that not many people know about.
There's one in most big city. You won't find by looking for it. It doesn't have an address. It doesn't have a sign above the door. It doesn't even have windows. No. The only way you'll find it is if you're taken there. That's how I found it.
That's alright, that's.
Okay.
Wow, that's not.
I thought you were gonna read it, but I
You're a kid now, what is so funny?
Okay, alright.
I've never met my real parents. I've been in and out of foster families at group homes here in Detroit since I was a kid. I'm 15 now, and I'm what they refer to as a bad kid. Always causing trouble. Always getting thrown out and placed with another unsuspecting do-gooder who thinks they can help me. I was always proving them wrong. My caseworker sat across the black metal table, looking weary and frazzled. On the table between us was a thick letter-sized brown envelope for my case file. Oh, there's dialogue right here.
Well, your repetition. Well, your repetition. No, well, your well. Oh well, yeah. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, well, you're. Okay. Well,
Reputation. Well, your reputation has preceded you, she said. Oh wait, hold on. Let me do that voice.
And now you have the only one options: military school in this team, or the random McDonald house, which is a
I'm laughing.
wicked acceptance.
I'm literally laughing and crying right now. Alright. I don't have the patience for a drill sergeant and fighting villainy, and how bad could a halfway house named after a fast food clown possibly be around a McDonald house? It was. Dark cloud loomed above me the day I climbed onto the back of my caseworker town car. My few belongings in a backpack and the clothes on my back. That's all I could take. One of the few belongings I had was a photo album filled with pictures of all the foster families I have been with. It is nice to mirror some of them, even though I have royally working up each time. I'm not gonna cuss.
Yeah, monetize it. Damn it.
I had a few cases who went through the Ronald McDonald house.
Said the caseworker said in the front of the seat.
Things went so well for the kids. I never had the chance for that one anywhere elsewhere. In fact, the house took over the case files and everything.
We drove into Detroit, downtown Detroit, past all the familiar landmarks. I have been thrown out of the one foster home just outside town because I snuck into downtown Detroit with neighborhood kids to sneak into the dive bar. Good times.
Well, we are here.
The car came to a stop.
I look out the window. We have parked in front of a tall gray.
The kid.
I look out a window. We have parked in front of a tall gray windowless building sandwiched between two other industrial buildings on a narrow city street. I know there are the entrance on the building to my left and one on the right, but not this particular building, not even a sign. Are you sure? I asked, hesitating as I opened the car door and climbed out the back seat. I snung my backpack over my shoulder, clanging tightly onto the strap. It followed me to the caseworker to the windowless metal door. She pressed a buzzer and spoke to someone inside. The door clicked to unlock. We walk in. As soon as the metal door closed behind her, I noticed the pin drop silence. It was that sort of sign that's so oppressive and empty it almost defends you. Across dimly lit lobby, there was a glass window with someone inside. A secretary. She was turned away, typing something intensely. We walked over to the window. The caseworker rang a bell on the counter, and the secretary spun around in her chair. Her face was printed like a clown, like Ronald McDonald. In fact, she even had the short curly red hair. Otherwise, she wore a typical white nurse dress.
I wanted to laugh how bizarre it was, but I couldn't. A chill swept down my spine. Something was not right. I watched as the nurse and the caseworker interacted. Paperwork was passed through the window. The caseworker slid my case file under the glass as the nurse slid her some papers to sign. As my caseworker signed the papers, the nurse looked at me. Her smile should have been warm and welcoming, but all I saw was in her eyes was hunger. Wait, this is you, do the voice.
I can't stay here. I stem it loudly. Take me to the military school in Lansing, please.
Alright.
What's the matter, sweetie?
The nurse asked. I had to laugh. Her voice muffled slightly in the glass. Afraid of clowns? Okay. I looked in her hungry eyes. Now there was a malicious glint as she laughed. My caseworker laughed too, obviously, and then she said,
Now, don't overreact. You hate to be in military school. Besides, this was good for you.
Yes, said the clown nurse.
This will be good for you.
Before I could object, I heard a slam behind me.
I spun around to see an open door in the far corner of the lobby. To the left from the desk window, there was no one there, just the light that flooded in from the door. Then the creepy shadow strode, echoing laughter and growing shadow along the wall inside the door. Oh, said the caseworker, here comes the welcome community. As I stayed in a horror Clutching the strap of my backpack, my caseworker patted me on the shoulder the last time. Don't worry, honey. It'll be different this time. You feel right at home here, I promise. She turned to leave. Stupid.
Not good. It's not good.
Okay. Okay.
No, you're fine. That was started.
Okay, she turned to leave. I felt a vital churning in my stomach. No, I said desperately. You can't leave me here. Oh no, I got to get going. I never did like clowns. And with that, she left me there. The metal door slammed behind her, and I was alone.
Alright. I faced the open doorway by the front desk in. The shadows had almost entered the room, and the piercing laughter was filled with a lot of sound. I ran for the front doors, pounded, yanked, and pushed and screamed. Scream for help, scream for my caseworker, scream for anyone, please God. I turned to the nurse again, behind the glass, smiling at me, then entered and laughed for a while. All the while, excuse me. A whole group of little laughing nurses with clown faces and red hair. Some male, some female, but all of the same terrifying Ronald McDonald makeup. And in the dim light of the lobby, I could see the glint of the metal tools in her hand. So, coming up the rear was a pair of clown nurses rolling a metal table, complete with restraints. Get the
Hey, no, just say that.
Hey,
Get the front away from me. I screamed. I pounded at the metal door again. Let me out of here. They surrounded me, grabbing me as I thrashed.
They surrounded
me, grabbing me as I thrashed it and screamed and tried to tear myself away, laughing as I kicked and squirreled. They slammed me onto the rolling table and strapped me down. I looked around wildly. I was surrounded. Let me go! I screamed, twisting and turning and pulling at the restraint. They rolled me through the open doorway and down seamlessly, endlessly white hallway. They laughed and laughed and laughed. They waved their shiny, skeptical, and razor and needle mirror inches from my face just to make me flinch and scream. This made me laugh even harder. The last thing I remember before someone finally injected me was the hand, glove, finger pulling inside my mouth and pulling at the side of my mouth, distorting my scream and forcing an unnatural grind on my streaked, sweating face, hot, rancid breath in my face, and the whisper, perverted voice speaking the word, "You love to see you smile." Then, as the maniacal laughter seems to wrap and went down like a dying record player, everything faded to black.
I opened my eyes and I was blinded by the bright lights above, shielding my groggy eyes from the fluorescent bulbs. I turned onto my side and looked around. The cell, the tall white walls covered in scratch marks and stains. A wall drained in the corner, of the floor. My toilet, perhaps. A door with no windows, and on the floor by the door, my backpack. I tried to sit up. My body ached, and the moment I sat upright, my vision started spinning, wondering what they drugged me with. I realized I was shivering. I looked down. I wasn't wearing my own clothes anymore. I was wearing a dirty, ripped hospital gown, bright yellow with pattern of Ronald McDonald's heads all over. Nothing underneath. I heard faint muffling sounds from somewhere in the building. It sounded like screams. I tried to stand, but I couldn't keep my balance. My vision was beginning to stabilize, but my body still felt like rubber. I sank to my knees, crawled over to my backpack. Before I got there, I tried to open the door. As suspected, it was locked. I slumped onto the floor beside my backpack and unzipped it. All that remained inside was a photo album. They had taken my notebooks and pens and my cell phone, of course they did. I warily opened the photo album, but instead of photos that had been there, photos of myself with previous foster families, photos where I had attempted to look happy and hopeful, even though I knew that I wasn't be there for long. Instead of those photos, they were like crime scene photos. In each one, I recognized a former foster family brutally murdered and covered in blood. My heart raced and my stomach churned. I I began to turn the pages quicker. Each page, a new photo, a new family, a new carnage. I recognized their faces, and inside the homes they lived, all with these people. And now they're all dead.
I came to the last few pages. A photo of a house at night. Then a window of that house. Then inside the house, a dark hallway with light coming from one doorway. Then a photo of my caseworker brushing her teeth at her bathroom mirror. Then a photo of her looking at the camera in horror. Then a photo of the caseworker naked, covered in her own blood. And contoured it into an unnatural position in her bathtub. Wait, you already read that?
No, I didn't.
Alright, okay, yeah. I turned to the last page. Written inside the back cover, the photo happened with 3 words. You never existed. I felt like risking in my stomach. I threw the book to the ground and crawled over to the hole in the floor and vomited. They were right. Having killed everyone who never knew me, it was though I never existed. I heard more faint screaming to the distance. I knew I had to get out. I wiped the vom off my face with my hospital gown and crawled back over into my backpack. Hopefully they haven't found my secret weapon. I unzipped the front pocket and reached down to my very bottom, my fingers scraping the fabric. Sure enough, there they were, flush with a seam in the bag, nearly undetectable. The pen I used for picking lock. I told you I'm a bad kid. I leaned against the door and listened. I could hear footsteps approaching, but just as soon as they had come, they faded in another direction. I knew I had to work fast. I jiggled the handle with one hand and picked the lock with the other hand. It was surprisingly simple. Holding the handle, I slowly pulled myself to my feet. I could maintain my balance now. I pulled the door open just a crack. A clown nurse darted past. My heart almost stopped, but his footstep didn't slow or change and soon faded. He didn't notice me. I could poke my head out the door. Seamlessly, endlessly white hallway either direction. The distant scream was louder now, coming from all around.
Taking a deep breath, I stepped into the hallway and closed the door behind me. I decided to go to the right, passing doors identical to the door that I had been behind. I heard the screams and sobbing coming from behind each one. I stopped for a moment at one door, heard a cry of a child inside. I jiggled the handle to see if I could let him in out. Locked. I kept moving, looking behind me very few seconds to make sure no nurses had come into the hallway. Then I passed a set of double doors. I stopped for a moment. The word "play place" had been written in tall, thin letters across the width of both doors. I heard more screaming come from within, the screams of multiple people, and laughter, the insane, the shrill laughter of the clown nurses. I shuddered. I was afraid to find out what sort of torture was happening inside. And I knew I had to keep moving. I saw a door ahead of the stairway symbol. I headed for it. As I opened the door, I glanced behind me and saw 2 clown nurses emerging from the play place room. Their white nurse outfits were covered in streaks of blood. I quickly shot myself into the stairwell, hoping they didn't notice me. The stairwell was dimly lit, with cement walls and rusty railings. I looked behind the door I had just closed. There was a red number 5 on the door, so it must be on the 5th floor. I decided to go to the ground level. Each footsteps echoed as I began to descend the stairs. I couldn't hear screaming anymore, just a low, deep humming sound like pipes on the walls. It was a welcome respite. I finally climbed to the number 1 door. The staircase seemed to be descend a few floors lower, but I stopped here and slowly peeked through the door. More white hallways, no clowns to be seen. So far, so good. I stepped through the door and walked into the hallway. I noticed I couldn't hear any screaming on the door or on this floor. Just the buzz of fluorescent tube lights above. I came to the end of the hallway and another set of double doors. A large red cross. This kind of you see the left by standard first aid kit. Was painted across the width of the door. I pressed my ear to the door. All I heard was a slow, rhythmic pulse of like a machine at work, and faintly a bleep beeping sound like you hear in a hospital room. I knew I should open the door. I knew this was an exit. I should keep looking, but I had to see.
I turned the handle. It wasn't a lock. I peeked inside. It was a cave-north white room, fluorescent light flickering and buzzing. I saw a wire hanging all around and hanging from the ceiling in rows. Kids in the hospital grown like mice attached to white wooden crosses affixed to the ceiling, literally crucified. They were silent, their head dropping for their eye were either closed or staring out. Nothing. Some seemed to twitch a bit. Most were still. Their cross swung back and forth very slightly. And the hanging wire, they weren't wire. They were intravenous tube attached to kid wrist tube sucking out their blood. What the heck, vampire? Almost mobbed it again right then there in the center of the room. Amidst the row hanging crosses, I could see the reminiscences pulsing, and sound came from a huge steel cylinder which seemed to be collecting the blood from all the tangled tube that dangled from the kid's wrist. I opened my mouth to scream, to cry out in anger. All I could say, "What the fork?" That's when the alarm began to sound loud, piercing like the police sirens of hell. They must realize I was missing. I shut the door, frantically glanced around the hallway to see if anyone was coming. No sign yet. I ran for the stairwell. As soon as I entered the stairwell, I heard laughter from above, echoing and reverberating throughout the stairwell. The clown nurse were coming.
I stumbled down the stairs as fast as I could. I must have gone down another 3 stories before I reached the basement. I found myself running through a dark sewer-like hallway. Small light bulbs overhead every 10 yards or so. The smell of decay and rotting flesh grew more and more pungent as I ran. The laughter continued behind me. I managed to glance behind and see a group of them running after me. I saw them come into the light and then become silhouettes again. Their smiling faces, gleaming knives and needles pushing my adrenaline to the max. I ran past the clothes full of stacked, rotting corpses, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't think of anything but escape. I turned the corner and found myself facing the bellows of a ladder in the wall. I climbed until my head smacked the ceiling. Below me, the shadows of laughter grew closer. Then the footsteps slowed. They were closer and they knew it. I pushed up out of the ceiling above me, heaving upward and panting and screaming. The clouds were below me, laughing and waving their scalpels. Something caught me, my leg. I screamed and pushed one last time. The ceiling gave way as a manhole cover slammed onto the asphalt above. A circular opening. I climbed out and quickly pushed the manhole cover up the hole, blocking out the laughter and the clowners below. I lay there for a few on the top manhole cover for a few minutes as the cat caught my breath. Rain fell into the sky. A turbulent night sky above was a welcome sight. I looked around, abandoned buildings, broken glass, no lights, cars, signs, and life anywhere. All police sirens were some in the distance, then siren. I climbed to my feet. Pain shot through my leg. I looked down and saw a kind of angle. It was the clown nurse that slashed me. That word. I'm not saying it. I don't want to get demonetized. Living the best I could. I started to walk.
Hello, I called out. The only answer was dissonant road thunder. Somebody, help me, please! My foot fell on something soft and mushy. I looked down at a newspaper. I peeled it off, wet, aspirant. Most of the ink has faded, but I was able to make out the date, July 13, 1992. I dropped it, and I see draft filling my stomach. Keep walking. You don't want to hear me? I scream, please, anyone, please. My word fading to delirious sob. I stood there for a moment. The rain had soaked through my thin hospital ground. I shivered as the wind blew. Then I saw a light in the distance with big yellow M in the sky as McDonald, of course. I limped toward it. When I came to M and McDonald, I saw the apart from the M, the rest of the building was completely dark. I walked cautiously toward the broken window and looked in darkness. I turned service the place outdoor playground, 10-foot tall structure, color tube with the kid to crawl through. Sitting on one of the benches was a familiar figure, the Ronald McDonald statue. You know, the one where you could sit beside it and look like he got his arm around your shoulder. Every kid has seen it. I shuddered at the night. The door was unlocked. I walked in, out in the rain, silent darkness. I know that the decor was like the modern McDonald you see. It was still the same I was in the 80s, with the white plastic boots and the red and yellow tie. The wind seemed to whisper through the broken window. I noticed something in the front counter, a black rectangular. I got closer to the laptop, and early noon laptop. I laughed with a soft, delirious laugh. I knew what I was supposed to do, so I took the laptop outside and sat beside the Ronald statue. I opened the laptop and began to type this story. The rain is falling is falling to the sky, but I don't care. There's nothing left to do but wait, because I've been noticing out of the corner of my eye Ronald is trying to look over my shoulder. He's laughing now. All you do is join. What?
And you see a picture of Ronald McDonald statue.
I don't mind. It doesn't seem too creepy, huh?
Oh, that was the story.
Oh, that was a freaking long story, and I think that was actually more interesting than Squidward.
Yeah.
It was
What do
really.
you think?
It's creepy, man. What the heck, man?
Yep.
I don't think I want to go near him.
Yeah. There's a picture of Ronald McDonald right there.
Well, I don't mind hugging him. Well, he looks kind of like a clown. Well, he is a clown.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Ronald McDonald House.
Seems more creepier
Yep.
than the clown. Well, that was it. Ronald McDonald House. That was a great, interesting story. I really enjoyed that. It was definitely great. That's all I gotta have to say, man. There's really nothing else to say about the story, but it was just truly amazing. I had some fun and laugh, and it was really great. So yeah, what do you have to say, Derek?
It was pretty good. That's all I gotta say.
Alright. So this is Creepypasta. I don't know what number we on, but whatever. But I hope you guys enjoy that. Comment down below if you guys want some more. So yeah, so make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button notification, and yeah, subscribe and you will be awesome. So yeah, see you guys later and peace.